Between the time that you first became employed as a police officer at the town of Damascus and your enrollment at the academy in August of 1989, what did you do? Did you work?
Like I said, I helped my mother and my daddy do farm work. Just basically try to get myself ready to go to school at that time. Now, if I had employment, I don't remember that.
Well, you say that you were employed or first accepted for full-time employment in May of 1989 at the town of Damascus, right?
Right.
Did you start working at that time for the town of Damascus?
In May, yeah.
Okay.
I was hired May 4th and I started May 5th.
What did you do at that? What did you do from an employment standpoint between the time that you started work on May 5th, 1989, and the time that you enrolled in the academy? What were your job duties?
Oh, I worked out on the road there in Damascus as a patrol officer.
Okay, okay. Did those duties change or become more involved after you completed your training at the academy?
They probably more involved than what they were before I went.
Okay. When you first started work at the town of Damascus, did you undergo any training, any specific instructions on procedures or on any police conduct or any police activities?
No, when I worked over there, started out, I was by myself.
Okay. Were there any other officers, any other patrol officers at the time?
Just me.
Who was the chief at the time?
There was no chief when I first started over there
Okay. Were you the only officer for the town of Damascus at the time?
for several months.
All right. All right. Now, when you went to the academy, is it the kind of thing where you stay there on a full-time basis?
No, I drove.
All right. How long did you study per day at the academy?
We went to class, had to be there, the best I remember, at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we didn't leave till around 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the evening, sometimes later than that.
Okay. So it was a full day thing every
Yes.
day. So for the many week period that you were at the academy from August to October, you weren't on duty at the town of Damascus, is that right?
While I was in the academy, it's counted as a work day.
Okay. Okay. But you weren't doing any patrol duties for the town
The
of
only
Damascus?
day that I remember while I was in the academy working was there was a flood that hit several southwestern Virginia counties. And they released us from school early one day and told us to get back to our departments that they needed us. And I came back that day to finish out an 8-hour shift or whatever it was.
All right. Now let me ask you to take a look at what has been marked as Exhibit 4. Do you see that?
Yeah.
All right. Do you know what this is?
This is a scenario booklet that
Okay.
was given to us. Is my understanding that it was not something that we would receive a grade on.
Okay. Well, do you know what the 52 on the top of the first page means?
No, I don't.
Okay. What do you mean you didn't understand that it would be something that you would receive a grade on?
This was just something that they gave us to do.
Okay. Do you know if you had to complete it as part of your training at the academy?
It was part of the training, but it was not something that we received. What I'm trying to say is it was not part of the. It wasn't a test where it counted as you passed or failed.
Okay.
Understand?
In other words, you didn't need to pass this at any certain level in order to graduate from the academy.
That's right.
Is that right?
Right.
Okay. All right. Let me ask you about a couple of these things here. What kind of what kind of preparation, if any, did you engage in before going through this scenario book?
We went through several weeks of classroom training, and we did some on-hands scenarios.
All right.
I can't remember if we did the on-hand scenarios before this booklet was give out or after, but around about the same time we did what was called practical scenarios.
Did you complete this booklet in one day?
No, it was over a period of time. It was given to us like 1 week, and we had like a week or maybe 2 weeks to get it done, and hand it
Okay.
back in.
And who did you hand it back in to?
Ron Davis.
All right. Now, let's take a look at what is noted as SVCJA 33.
All right,
All right, do you see this?
I do.
Take a moment and read through the scenario, then I want to ask you a couple questions about it.
Okay.
Okay, have you completed reading this?
Yes, sir.
And let me ask you this. You see the big X on this?
Mm-hmm.
Were you ever given a copy of this where it had checks and X's on it?
I don't think I was given a copy, but I
Okay.
did see the copy that I turned in, which would probably be the original copy of this.
Okay. Did anybody go over the answers to your questions with you after you did them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, please say yes or no.
Yes.
Okay. All right, well then, let's go over this scenario here. You answered yes to question 1.
That should be no.
Okay, well, that was my question. You've got a question 1, answer yes, question 2, answer no, and then it says why. And if I read your writing correctly, it says you never hit anyone in the head with a nightstick unless it becomes a matter of life or death for you. Is that what you wrote?
That's right.
And do I understand your answers, your initial answers here, to mean that the officer at this scenario was appropriately allowed to use his baton, he had just inappropriately hit the suspect in the head? Is that right?
Reading the way I have it written out there,
Mm-hmm.
just the way I got it written out there, that's the way I put it down there. I mean, that's the way I understood it as well.
Okay. And that was not correct?
That's not correct.
All right. What, do you remember who spoke with you about your answers to these scenarios? Was that Mr.
Ron
Davis?
Davis.
Okay. Do you remember what, if anything, he told you about this particular question?
I don't remember what he told me.
Okay. Well, what did you understand to be the right answer to this question, to question 1?
The question was the use of the baton justified in this manner? And I put yes down there. It should be no.
Okay.
He was not in a life or death situation.
Okay. And so, was it explained to you after you answered this question, yes, that the use of the baton in this situation was not justified, and that the correct answer was no?
Yes.
Okay. Move to the next page. SVCGA 34. And I want you to take a look at the top scenario that's there. And let me know when you finished reading it. All right. The question says, or the scenario says, an armed suspect has barricaded himself alone in a house. Efforts to talk the suspect into surrendering have failed. Question number one, is the use of chemical agents justified? And before I go into this, what do you understand, or what did you understand chemical agents to refer to for this question?
Different types of gases
Okay.
from either being shot or like in a hand grenade type thing where you actually can throw inside
Okay.
a building.
All right. And you wrote yes, and the answer should have been no. Is that correct?
I think the problem with that particular question was CS gas. And they are some types of gas that when you actually throw them into a building or a home or whatever it may be, that they can cause fire.
Okay.
And that particular gas, my understanding was that it will cause a fire.
And that's why
That was
the
wrong.
answer should have been no.
The part down here, the answer part at the bottom of it is correct. It's just a type of gas.
Okay, so when you say the answer part, you mean the part where it says question number 2, what type?
Yes.
To me, other than training police dogs, let me make sure I got this right. It says, to me, other than turning police dogs loose inside the house, this would be the safest way to apprehend the subject. Do you see
Right.
that? And was that answer correct?
When it comes down to using gases, that is correct. You could go one step further than that and try to make, establish phone contact.
Okay. Did Mr. Davis go over your answer with you on this particular
Yeah.
question?
Yeah.
What do you recall, if anything, about him?
The gas, particular type of gas that I put down there to be put into the place where the suspect was at was wrong because of starting fire.
Gotcha. So if you had answered a different type of gas, then maybe the answer would have been correct. Is that right?
That's the way I understood it.
All right. Let's go to